go. Good morning and welcome to E Squared Empowerment with Elysia. I'm your host, Elysia Buss, and today I have the great privilege and honor of connecting you with Hannah Hardy. She's coming to us live from Charlottesville, Virginia at Seneca Health at their Rehab Center. She is a CrossFit Games athlete as well as a CrossFit coach, and she is a doctor of chiropractic. She does so many cool things and is just generally a really great person. So happy to have her with us today to talk about the relationship with food, why it's important for us ladies to strength train, and honestly, everybody. Let's just be real about it. And the roller coaster of self-development and, self-belief, doubt, and compassion. Thanks for being with us here today, Hannah.
Oh, thank you. That was a very nice introduction. So I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. So tell us a little bit more about your journey with you had orthorexia, and I'm also like, what is that crazy word? I'm sure some other people that read the description are also like, what?
Yeah, no. So, I mean, my whole even health journey to get to being a chiropractor started with trying to get fit to actually go into the Navy. Like that was like the whole route I was going to go down. And I played sports in high school, but I wasn't like necessarily the healthiest, at least like outside of athletics. So when I started training for the Navy, I pretty much went on like any single blog website. I'm like, okay, like how do you eat healthy? How do you fuel? And I got steered more towards the bodybuilding way, and especially like more so peaking for a competition. So it was very minimal food, very minimal calories. I mean, high protein, but it's like no carbs, no fat. And you just exercise to death. And I was like, all right, that's the key to, health and fitness. So orthorexia, for those who don't know, is an obsession with healthy eating. A lot of people know anorexia, which is really just an obsession of just not eating food or not getting in enough calories and being fearful of that. Um, and that was technically what I was diagnosed with. Orthorexia is actually not in the DSM handbook, which is all the psychological conditions, but people are still trying to rally because there is this distinction between, okay, being obsessed with healthy eating and being fearful of perceived unhealthy foods and being fearful of just eating any sort of calorie in general. Through that, I was hospitalized three separate times.
Wow.
I lost a significant amount of weight. I mean, my fighting weight when like I was like in high school, even training, was around like 130. And that was healthy for me, like at that time, as I was still growing.
Mhm.
And the lowest I got was 97 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. And through all that, like as I found CrossFit and then further studied at the University of Virginia, kinesiology, sports nutrition, and really just got a healthy concept of what it means to fuel your body. That is how I slowly ramped up and slowly changed my mindset over time to, okay, I don't need to be fearful of all foods. You can have things in moderation, but you need to fuel your body in order to be strong, to be fit. I mean, even just to operate in day-to-day life. Even if you're just sitting on the couch all day, like you still need a certain amount of food to just breathe.
Yeah. So we can have zucchini bread?
Yes, we can. We can have zucchini.
But in
Yeah. Oh,
moderation. Not like
yeah.
half the loaf in like 24 hours, maybe.
I mean, it depends. Like, like if you're training hard, I mean, I know when I'm in, peak, like when I'm trying to, train and be at my fittest for the CrossFit Games. I mean, I have eaten like a lot of banana bread and sourdough to just get
To
some calories.
replenish.
Yes, like I need the carbs. And I really like a part of like this whole journey for me is to help people not be fearful of like eating foods or thinking like they have to be like 100% on point in order to achieve their goals, because that in the end, like that's not sustainable. Like we want something that if your goal is weight loss, you want a path that's sustainable. If it is to actually gain muscle, okay, you can't just like, go off the deep end and eat a bunch of food, because most of the time people just get sick of that. You need to find a sustainable approach for you that still allows you like, freedom and to make to make memories with people, but you can still steer it towards like you're still going to get the outcome that you want.
Yeah. Yeah, in regards to outcome, because like you talked about wanting to train and get into the Navy, but you weren't actually able to get in the Navy because of how all that came together, right?
Yeah, yeah. So with like being hospitalized 3 different times, and I mean I was going through this through my junior and senior year, like as I was applying for the Naval Academy and for a Naval ROTC scholarship. So with that on my medical records, they did take back both appointment to the Naval Academy and my scholarship to UVA through Naval ROTC. And and to think, I mean, that shook my whole world up as a little 18-year-old.
Yeah,
Say being like,
absolutely.
okay, yeah, I mean, I was working for this for 3 years for it to be taken away, and not knowing that, I could have hidden it, or like I'm a very honorable person. Like I want to
Yeah.
tell people what's going on.
Yeah.
So with that, it's I mean, kind of like to say it's like we had internet problems and I had people coming into my office. So maybe it was good that, people didn't disrupt. I took, an unfortunate situation. I'm like, okay, what can I still needed to heal my relationship with food and
Yeah.
with training, and trying to pursue a healthy lifestyle, and saying like, okay, I can't, I wanted to serve my country, but now I'm like, okay, how can I serve those who are also being misguided, or they're just, there's so much information out there that they're not getting the right information that they need to like, I mean, to either do what I did, to, to fuel their performance for whatever athletic goal that they want, or to lose weight and just be like their healthiest self.
Yeah.
So that's what how I kind of changed my mindset throughout like my 3 years in undergrad, and that slowly transitioned me to the chiropractic world.
Oh, that's fantastic. Did you have any mentors or friends that helped you recognize that and like give you support in that transition without shaming you? Like, how did you
No,
navigate that?
yeah, I mean, through that process, in high school, unfortunately, I did have like a select few friends that did help me like through that. But really it was, I mean, my mom and I have a beautiful relationship,
Mm.
and she really helped me navigate through that. But I found most of my support being in the CrossFit gym and being surrounded by people who wanted to be strong, wanted to be fit, and rather than trying to be their skinniest self,
Yeah.
or they were looking at themselves as a whole, not only what their bodies could do or even what they looked like, because I mean, everybody still looks at their body image in some way, shape, or form. Some
Sure.
people are more impacted than others. But but it was more about, okay, how can your body perform? All right, like at the bottom of the totem pole, how do you look? In the middle, it's like, how healthy can you be? Those are, and seeing people live that lifestyle was just like, and being surrounded by that, it slowly, like that started being my identity more than, okay, what do I necessarily look like? And the perception of being small, skinny, ripped is the definition of health and fitness when it's not.
Right. It's more about like your goals and what like you want to achieve in like from start to finish, right? Like what are your little benchmarks between and having a community that helps you sustain that process? Because it's definitely harder, I think, to do things by yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's like I think, any big feat in life, which is also just life, you need to, yeah, which you need to be surrounded by just like the people that either it's like you look up to, you want to be, or people that are pursuing like similar goals and fashions and in the ways that you want to. So it's like I mean, you're the combination of the five closest people in your
That's
in
right.
your circle. So with me, it's in undergrad, instead of being surrounded by, first through fourth years that party all the time, I was surrounded by the townies here at the CrossFit gym. One, luckily to be like a CrossFit Games athlete herself. Like I got to, I mean, like live in that atmosphere. And then over time, I got to branch that into, UVA athletics, and seeing, there's people of my age that are also doing these things to, like go to the Olympics or get first at, NCAAs, like, and
Yeah.
it slowly branched out from there.
Are the like is CrossFit in the Olympics at this point or
No, I mean, I'd say like, I mean, CrossFit, there's just different aspects. A lot of CrossFitters overseas do compete in the Olympics for weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting. Uh, like our gymnastic skills, we can't keep up, of course. Like we do very basic gymnastic skills here. But you actually do see like one of the fittest females in the CrossFit Games world did compete for Australia in
That's
the
awesome.
Rehab. So it's very cool, like what CrossFit has done. And you can do like, pursuing one sport and then actually being able to excel in some others.
That's fantastic. You talked about strength training being important for women. Like, what specifically about that really pulls you in?
No. I was like with me, I think I mean, to this day there is like a stigma of, okay, women like need to be small. And I do think it is changing. Like when I was in high school, that was like you want to get toned. Like not necessarily like too big, too bulky.
Yeah.
Lifting too much weight, you're gonna just add muscle like a meathead bodybuilder. It takes so much work to do that. I mean, even like to this day, I'm like, yes, I have muscles. I have a lot of muscles, but I'm not the people in the physique world at all. Like they have so much more muscle than me. And then we're like females, just because of our hormones in our body, are never going to be like as muscle bound or jacked as men who strength train. But strength training is like that you like people want to be toned. Like in reality, it's like they want their muscles to show. If you don't have muscles to show, it's just you're going to look just flat in general. And you need to be strong to carry your kids, to do any activity that you want to do for injury prevention. If you are like an avid runner or any sort of endurance athlete, like strength training is necessary to make sure like your joints and your muscles don't break down with how much mileage that you're putting on in reps from steps or swim strokes or, you
Sure.
know, cycle
Even as a
repetitions.
massage therapist, like I was at the gym today and I was doing assisted pull-ups and I had so much crackliness happening in my shoulders. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. Because I haven't worked out as much because I had that injury back in November. And so getting into lifting is like, oh, I know because I've lifted off and on since I was in middle school that if I stop lifting and I become weaker, I have more pain in my body because of what my body's been through. So the strength training really is a very pragmatic thing for me to do. It's not just about like what I look like. Like the stronger I am, the less pain that I'm in. And structurally, like with posture and everything else, it just holds things together. Right? Like
Oh,
it's
right. No, that's
just
exactly it. Like your muscles need to have the capacity to be able to hold the posture, even if you do like are like sitting at a desk all day long. It's okay. It's like you need those muscles. It and like strength training, it's like not only it's like it impacts your health, like you're building it's like technically it's like your metabolic rate goes up the more muscle that you like do develop. It's um and it's so vital, like like you need to be aerobic, you need to make sure your heart's in line, you need to be strong so you can be able to do the things that you do like, without pain or without if you need a bracing system. Like if your
yeah.
muscles can't take on the strain, what's like your joints and ligaments that aren't really supposed to take on the strain, and that's how you do get these like wear and tear things over time, or do get injuries like in like a non-contact way.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. People say all the time, it's like, oh, it's because I'm older that I'm hurting. Like I have
yeah,
people that are in their 50s, they come in and above that come see me. And sometimes even they start to have that conversation with me when they're in their 40s. They're like, oh, my knees hurt because, or my low back hurts. I'm just getting old. My hips hurt. And I'm like, well, it's less about age and it's more about how you're treating your body. Like, are you stretching? Are you foam rolling? Are you drinking enough water? Are you building your muscles so that everything is supported in your joints? Like, how mindful are you? Because you can have people that are older, like my mom's 71 and she got her personal training certificate at age 68. And like she doesn't hurt as much because of how what she does, like the healthy eating. And I think also like the mindset that she carries. And that's so much of it. If we decide we're going to be in pain, like it's amazing how strong our minds are. Like,
oh, yeah, no, that's something that I talk to like with my patients all the time. And that's like sometimes like when I'm in here and they're telling me it's like, like there is a thing of like, okay, you need to show or tell me the things that do like provoke pain. But we also I'm also but for me, I'm like, but what can we do? What is our entry point? Because and to constantly remind them that this isn't like this isn't forever. Like like to be honest, like very rarely does one instance change a whole, like, with does one instance cause your pain and you're like with this permanent dysfunction. Typically it's layers and layers and layers. So from there, I'm just like, all right. It's like, okay, it takes time. It's like it took you time to get here, but it doesn't mean that with more time, you can't get out of it.
yeah. And when you and I were talking about that before we hopped on, and how like this time last year before I had injured myself, I was lifting like 130 pounds on the adductor machine. And now I'm like was only doing 40 and like the difference of that and how hard it can be on your ego and like just pride and the things, your goals, everything else. But honoring that things are a gradient, right? If we push ourselves too hard before we're ready because we want to when we're eager, then we potentially put ourselves back. It can take 6, 8 weeks or whatever for a sprain to heal because we decided to push our muscles too hard.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, like if you don't pursue a goal, yes, okay, you don't have risk for injury, but then you have like risk for pain just as much, like just doing nothing. So I'd rather pursue a goal and, maybe have the risk of injury because I'm trying to make myself healthier. In CrossFit, I'm trying to pursue like, like I want to win the CrossFit Games someday. But I and sometimes that comes with injury, but like so does the other like way around. So
Yeah,
I
it's
like
like pick your poison, right? You had a great quote.
yeah, yeah. So like Adam Grant, he's the IO psychologist and he's written tons of books. He has a quote that says past progress. Um does let me actually bring it up. I want to make sure that I quote him correctly or else I'll feel really bad about myself. Um So past progress is proof of future potential. And so for me, it's like I went through an injury. Like I ended up falling from a pair of gymnastics rings and getting a significant bone bruise in my femur. And I couldn't squat for 4 months. I was on crutches for 6 weeks. And like to think, it's like, all right, it was like my max back squat is 290 pounds. I'm like, I could barely back squat like 185 without
Wow.
being insignificant. I was like, this is hard. And thinking, I'm like, how and this was, the fall of 2022 and I had, aspirations to go to the CrossFit Games in August of 2023 with the team. And I was like,
Mhm.
I have no clue how I'm going to get from where I am now to
Yeah.
the CrossFit Games. But I knew that in the I'm like in 2021, I'm like, okay, like that's when I hit 290 pounds on a back squat. I have made the CrossFit Games. I'm like, even though like I even try to tell people, I'm like, I try not to even like, I don't want to compare myself. I don't compare myself to a past self. Like, I just know that it's like what I do is saying like, okay, like I was there at a certain point in my life. Like it is achievable to get back there. Or like, and then as you're trying to achieve that goal, you get better in different ways as well.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm like, okay, like, all right, I got that bone bruise in 22, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not going to ever go back to the CrossFit Games. But then that next year, there I go. Like I went back,
Yeah.
and it was just like, showing up every day and saying like, okay, like what can I do now that can help push me forward to my goals, and not dwelling on the fact that I did so much like 1 or 2 years ago. It's being like,
Yeah.
okay, like I can't do that now. It doesn't mean I can't get back there, but I'm like, I just need to get like 1% better today.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. I really appreciate you sharing all that with us.
Of course.
We had talked about the roller coaster of self development, like self belief, doubt, compassion, all those things. I feel like that's a really like just lovely lead in.
No, like, I mean, with all that, I mean, this is something that I want to even preface that, like, I work on to this day. Like, we talked before this podcast, before the podcast of saying, like, okay, I still struggle with body image, even though, like, I am in a much better place than I was when I was 18, so 9 years ago. But, like, it's like, but it doesn't mean that I don't have these ebbs and flows. There's just, you can react to something like it's like you can have that thought and react, which is what I used to do, and then by that it's like, okay, I'll limit what foods I could eat, and now it's like I can have that thought and then just like and act upon it and then see why those thoughts are coming in. It's like, all right, it's like for me, like this morning, I'm like, all right, like I don't feel like as defined than I was, and I want to start restricting my food and like what I deem is healthy and unhealthy. And then I'm like, wait, I'm like, okay, what are different stressors in my life? I'm like, right now, like, my mother recently had a health emergency, and I'm like, that's still playing on my mind. I'm like,
Yeah. She
okay, and
okay?
yes, she's doing a-okay. Like she is like she's living her best life now, which is awesome. But it's like I'm trying to find these like more ways that I can control certain aspects of my life. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
like I want control, and I do have control of the things I eat, and then that's going to make me somehow feel better in my body image, and that's going to help me like, have that sense of control so I can, worry less about like what happened to my mom in the past or what could happen in
Yeah.
the future. And when I think about that and like kind of delve through it, I'm like, okay, I'm like, all right, that was an overreaction to like what's going on. And I was like, and then now it's like, all right, I just want control and, and move on and just saying like, all right, like instead of restricting my food, because I know that's going down an unhealthy pattern, I'm like, what's something healthy I can do? I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
let's go get some sun outside
Yeah.
for 10 minutes, or let me go talk to my mom. And she like tells me like all the good things that like she did like this weekend.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
The importance. Go ahead.
oh no, I was about to say it, but I was like, people go through these ebbs and flows of self-belief, self-doubt. I say self-compassion because like, for me, it's very hard I sometimes perceive giving myself grace and forgiving myself for doing certain things as like making an excuse. I'm like, it's not an excuse. Like you need to be nice to yourself. Like, I mean, everybody says it's like you are your own worst critic. It's like if you went to your best friend, you know, like came to you for something and said like, "Hey, like I've been struggling with It's like I've been struggling with eating. Like I'm like I don't like I just like I am restricting myself." Like you're not going to just like yell at them, being like, "You know better." It's like no, you're gonna be like, hey, like it's okay. It's like what is like you're gonna ask like what can you do to help them?
Right.
So it's like you need to be nice, and it's like it's okay to make mistakes. Like I mean, we're all human.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, but that like this journey, it's like it's never ending. Like no matter how many journal prompts or self-help books or therapy appointments that you have, there's always these ebbs and flows in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. And it's important to have that sort of self-awareness of like when are we giving ourselves grace, and when do our mistakes become a pattern, and having that radical self like responsibility and radical accountability and self-love, right? Like loving ourselves enough to say I'm struggling, I need support. And because so many people just don't want to deal with that concept of failure or rejection or like judgment that we get from other people, but really just saying where are my resources, where can I go?
Right. And I mean, and yeah, it's like, where can you go? Like, I mean, for me, it's, like sometimes, like, yeah, like some people, like, in your circle, like, can't help. And it doesn't mean like they still can't be close to you. It's like, no, you have like your certain people that you go to for certain situations as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we talked about how we can love ourselves and still want to approve upon ourselves.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like, yes. I mean, I feel like a lot of people, when it comes to self love, it's just like, no, it's like, like that's it. Like, you don't want to get better. Like, you just love yourself who you are, and you're just in this magical, happy fairy tale world. I'm like, no,
Get a
like,
free
if
pass
you,
on everything.
yeah. I'm like, no, I was like, no, like, please, it's like, no, like, you can love yourself, but like, you can still improve. Like, those two things can exist at the same time, and it's not one or the other. It's not, oh, I love myself so much, and everything's perfect in my life, and I'm exactly where I want to be. If you are, that's awesome. Like, good, kudos to you. I like, you know, I I don't believe like perfect exists, but like, if you are, like, so content, like, I am so happy for you. Uh, but I'm like, but it's like you could still, like, want to move up in your career or finally pursue that 5K or 10K or get into the
Yeah.
gym and strength train, or go out on a limb and try Hinge if you're trying to be in a relationship. Like, it's like, you can still love yourself, and I think, the like, trying to improve yourself, I mean, more often than not, like, those things help fulfill you when you're doing it from a base of self-love.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I was just thinking like I can still love myself and complain about the fact that my pants are tight because and I would like to lose weight because I ate too many sweets this last week. Like it doesn't mean that I no longer like love myself or think that I'm pretty or like whatever it is. We can own both of those things. We can be like, "Oh my god, like I would really like to lose this weight. Like I feel fat." And that be okay. And as long as you can acknowledge those things, if that's your truth, and also not have it degrade you in the process. Because I think that a lot of people just assume that if you're saying, "Oh, I'm fat, I'm uncomfortable, like I'm not meeting my goals of where I want to be," that we're immediately just like talking a ration of shit to ourselves, which is sometimes true, but
Yeah.
like navigating through that.
Right, right. It's like, no, it's like you need to know. It's like, again, it's like you check in with yourself and saying like, hey, like, it's like, is this becoming your identity? Like, is this becoming a common pattern?
Right.
Um, it's like, do you actually like asking yourself? It's like, do you actually love yourself? And I was like, and if not, it's like, okay, like, let's work on that, because like then you can approach the like, I'm fat, my pants fit like tighter. I don't like I only want to be in sweatpants. Like, you can approach those thoughts with like, all right, like, what are action items that I can do to like not like to address these thoughts, rather than they also just like, if you don't have that self-love in place, that like you're just getting further and further from it.
Absolutely. So I know we're coming to our close. Hannah, is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience before we wrap up?
I mean, no, like this is awesome. Like I love being able to like talk to anybody on any platform about these things. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm a chiropractor. Like they're just like, why? It's like this whole podcast was pretty much like about like, I mean, really just like improving yourself. And that's something that I address with patients and clients all the time. And because I mean, like you said, like pain, which is something like I'm supposed to like be like one of the utmost people to fix pain. It starts with mindset and
Right.
believing that pain isn't forever. And if you start believing that thought or being fearful of certain movements, like you're training your brain to find the pain. Like the pain will be there. And if you start improving your mindset, like not only like well you're paying like the things that we do in the clinic and well in and out of the clinic are going to improve your condition, but you can actually like improve so many other aspects of life as well. So this
Yeah.
is something that I love going on podcasts and people like I think are surprised when I talk about these things. But I find it very key because I'm very key in my journey
Yeah.
like throughout life.
That's beautiful. Where can people find you, Hannah, if they want to have you on their podcast, or they want to come to you for chiropractic care and rehab, they want to train with you at the gym and ask you more questions?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm on Instagram at go so hardy. That's uh pretty much I'll respond to any message or question, and that's probably the easiest and like most like simple way to find and talk to me. And I work with people I work with people in person in Charlottesville, Virginia. And I have clients like throughout the nation that I work with remotely, whether it is like for training for nutrition, or even remote rehab as well. If they haven't found a healthcare professional to like help them through any like pain or injury that they're dealing with.
That's awesome. I love that we've come to a point in history where we can just virtually help people literally all over the world, even physically through rehab. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I mean, I think COVID like really like spiked it. Like, I mean, like just like sent it through the roof. But it's like sometimes it's like it is hard to find just the person that whether it is a healthcare professional or a trainer or a therapist,
Yeah,
you name it. Like you need to be able to like connect and have buy-in with the person.
for
And
sure.
sometimes it's not in their area, their like your area, and that's okay. Like that's why like, the internet's so special. It's like
Yeah,
because we can have these conversations.
absolutely. And who inspires you in the world today, Hannah?
Oh my gosh, you asked me this question right before coming on. I've been like, that's been in the back of my mind for an hour. Um, I mean, right now, I mean, there's two. I mean, I feel like there's two people that come to mind. One person's my mom. I mean, like I said, so my mom recently had a stroke. She is doing she's like doing 1,000% better than she was a month ago when it happened. And just seeing her like strength and resilience and really just like seeing her go from a super low and saying like I'm stuck with these, I'm stuck with slurring. I won't get my riding back. I won't be able to walk without a walker to like now, I mean, she's going to Antique Roadshow next week in Baltimore with her sister and being able
Nice.
to walk around town and do all of those things
Wonderful.
in the span of a month. And like seeing her like shift her mindset to I'm not going to get out of this to no, like I can overcome anything.
Yeah.
And now she can do and like enjoy something that she was really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Like it was so awesome to see. Like I love her and I see like where I get my toughness from.
That's awesome.
Um yeah, yeah. And then the other person, she's in the CrossFit space. Her name's Haley Adams. She actually stepped away from competing for a year. I mean, she's been like top 10 at least at the CrossFit Games for who knows how long. She's 22 or 3 years old. I think she's 23 years old. Um, but last year took the season off because she wasn't doing the like she didn't come at the sport from a place of self-love. She kind of buried herself because she was dealing with some mental health issues, and now she's coming back better than ever, and just loving herself in the process of pursuing something she loves, and nothing and something she doesn't see as like a punishment for like eating a certain treat, or just not placing first at the CrossFit Games when like the whole world thought she could. So that's been like really cool to see, and seeing her progress like through this year to compete in that way healthier mindset.
It's awesome. I love how you focus on that and that you have other people to look up to and that you and your mom have such a beautiful relationship.
No, I appreciate that. It's something that's very special and I hold very near and dear to my heart. Because I know some people don't have that with a
Yeah.
family member. So, like, I mean, I call her like every day with all of my issues. I don't know. So when she was going through hers, I'm like, oh no. I called her sister and I'm like, I don't know who to call. I typically call her. She's the one with the problem right now. So
Nah, I hear you. So, and everybody, thank you so much for watching either now or in the future on the replay. You can look, obviously, if you find this either on Instagram, Facebook, go to the YouTube channel for E2 Empowerment with Elysia. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends if you found this to be a powerful message. And you can learn more about me at elysiabuss.com or g3c-coaching.com to get to see all of our different YouTube channels. So until next time, we'll see you later. Thanks, guys.